So when you walk in, you want to keep your body language as open as possible. So your shoulders back and your head up so that you don't seem scared, but you seem like you know what you're doing. And you want to have your movements as fluid and calm as possible so that you don't scare the cat, that every step is intentional and that there's no sudden movements that frighten the cat. Now, this is Shaemus. I like to sit down on the floor so that I'm more on a level with the cat. I like to sit cross-legged or however's comfortable so that you're open and you're not sitting like this, which can be quite scary for them. So you want to keep everything open. Shaemus, you come out for some straws? Hi, good boy. Yeah. So when I first start working with a cat, I normally use my non-dominant hand, as I find they respond better to this. You give off a different energy from your non-dominant hand to your dominant hand. And my first interactions will always be that I'm trusting the cat. I'll put my hand out and I'll leave my hand out, normally in a fist shape or with my palm upwards and facing me. And I'll look away and keep my head, you being nosy, trying to steal the show. And I'll keep my head turned away so that all my eyes closed, so that I'm not looking at the cat, so that I'm not creating any kind of predatory interaction, so that the cat knows that I'm not looking at them and I'm not trying to hunt them or trap them or trick them in any way. Most feral cats or street cats are pretty streetwise to this. They will have most of the time lived around humans and know kind of how humans work, but always been at a safe distance. So what we're trying to do is show them that they can come close, we trust them to behave themselves, and that we're not trying to cause them any harm. So my first interactions will always be like, as I say, like this, or like this, or like this. And then what I often find is that the cat will come and sniff your hand, sniff around your fist, sniff your fingers. Now I'll let this interaction happen a couple of times that the cat sniffs, and then as the cat comes close to sniff, not headbutt, just sniff, then I'll push my hand slightly into the cat, but with a very strong, slow and solid movement. And if you're going to do this, you have to make sure that you're not going to be pulling back and forth, because the more sort of juttery you are, see his reaction, the more you move and flinch, the more he's going to be unsure of what your motives are. So you want to build a trustful relationship with the cat, and if you don't trust him or her, they're not going to trust you back. So once the cat gets more comfortable with the interactions, with just starting on the nose, you want to start from the very beginning of normalizing all behaviors. So with Shaemus, he's not a particular fan of having his tail touched. Lots of ferals aren't, and lots of ferals or semi-ferals will wag their tails a lot. Now don't take this in the same way as a normal house cat. It's not always showing a sign of aggression or a sign of annoyedness. It's a lot of the time just due to them being stimulated. So don't see the tail wag and think, oh my God, I'm going to get my hand ripped off, and stop what you're doing. Always make sure that any interaction is very purposeful. You put your hand out, you don't want to have your hand there, you take it back slowly. So you're just retreating, you're not running away. So, get back to normalizing behaviors. So with Shaemus, I started just with his face, and what I find often works is just a little, you hear him purring, just a little knuckle in the ear. You're just softly massaging the inside of the ear, which they can't do, because the only things they have to do this have claws. So anything they do to their ears is quite harsh. So you're able to rub their ears and give them a sensation that they can't get on their own that's pleasurable for them. So this in itself builds trust and makes them want to have more physical interaction with you. So the next thing that I do, once I found something that they like, most cats like being stroked on the chin, on the cheeks, on the top of the head to start with. Once you've got that done, you want to move on to the next stage of stroking. And I'll just explain quickly why they like the head. Often with the head, there is no way that you can grab them just from being here. There's no way that you can stop them from getting away, and they know this, so they feel safe with that. The moment you start touching the back, and the sides, they know that that's a position for them that they're more vulnerable. In this position, when you're near their face, they feel comfortable because they can bite you at any time and they can scratch you at any time. So they've got all of their weapons where your hand is. So it gives them the security that they're more in control. And that's what you want. You want them to feel in control. You want it to be that all of the interactions happen because they choose it and not because you're forcing it on them. So, once I've started finding where they're comfortable, I will start to I will start to move my hands into places that they're not comfortable with. So I'll be stroking their head where they're comfortable, down onto the back where they're not comfortable. Go back to the cheeks where they're comfortable, stroke down onto the paws where they're not comfortable. And I'll just keep doing this so that anytime they start to feel uncomfortable, you go straight back to where they are comfortable. So that every time you're doing it, you're normalizing the physical contact in the areas that they don't necessarily feel so secure. For Shaemus, that's his tail. So I stroke his head, I stroke his back, which he likes, go up to the tail, and you see straight away his ears go back. He turns around to see what my hands are doing, to see if he needs to attack me, if I'm gonna be doing something that he doesn't like. So you never want to push them to the point where they are going to attack you. You want to show them that what you're doing is finite, it has an end point, and that nothing bad's going to happen after it. So for a cat like Shaemus, I feel like he's been someone's pet before, the way he interacts with me, but he's obviously had something done with his tail, so I would guess that he's had his tail pulled quite a bit, maybe been around young kids who don't know how to respect a fine gentleman like himself. And so we want to move away from anything being negative. So we want to create every interaction that it's positive. So, let's see. He's also not so keen on having his belly stroked. So see there how he reacted because he knew that I was starting to stroke his sides. So what I do is I just always keep my hands still, so that he knows that I'm not trying to do anything to him. He still sees my hands in the same position. So he's overreacted. He's feeling shameful now because he knows that he's overreacted. He's slightly embarrassed. He's trying to act like he's not here, nothing happened. Yeah, I'm gonna go off and smell stuff. Come back. It's okay. We don't hold grudges. We don't hold grudges. That's a good boy. So yeah, you never want to hold a grudge. As soon as he's done that, he didn't do anything bad. He got overworked up. He got overwhelmed, he felt like he was in danger, so he prepared himself to attack if it was necessary. By me keeping my hand in the same position, I'm showing him that I don't mean him any harm, I'm not trying to do anything that he doesn't want me to do, and that everything's all cool. So you need to let him calm down, realise that he's made a fool of himself, and let him come back at his own time. So I offer my hand out to him and let him choose to come to me, never push myself into his space.